Hey, everyone, it's Sleepy Reader, aka Damian. It's another comic book thoughts video. I'm going to tell you my thoughts on about 10 comics that I've read recently. They're all, I think, from the month of June, maybe a little bit into July. It's all chaotic to me now. I have them in kind of um, order of how I like them. So there's 10 of them, but I may not actually do a countdown. We'll just go through them. I think I enjoyed them all, but some just because of the art. And it's like, what the hell is going on in the writing? Um, and others for both the art and writing. So it was a pretty fun time. Um, it's the heat wave is over, so officially it's only 91 degrees. However, this here that I have laying out in the shade in my backyard says 100. So I don't know. But this is after the heat. This is post heat wave. Uh, it does feel cooler than when the official heat was like 101 or whatever it was. Um, Ironically, this is a winter solstice. Another sort of random beer I must have picked up at Trader Joe's and stuck in the back of my refrigerator, and I just discovered it. So I don't know. This character might have come right out of one of these comic books. The first comic book is Bear Pirate Viking Queen, the final issue. Who could tell that it's a final issue? Does it say the end here? I guess it does, sort of. Um, so there's no way I can spoil this story because I have no idea what happened. Again, it just feels like beautiful art with random sorties into pretending something's going on. Uh, I guess vaguely these are avatars of different countries or different cultures or something like that. Each thing, the Viking, the pirate, the bear, and the queen. Maybe the bear represents the sort of native cultures that Europeans have destroyed. I'm not sure. Because we also have two women, two magical women, uh, seem to be maybe Eskimos or Inuits or what do they have up in Lapland? Maybe those. But it's just, yeah. So it's really just an art gallery with some words. I don't know. I'm glad it was only 3 issues. That's 3 issues is definitely my max for a comic book that has great art, but the story doesn't do anything for me. I will still, in fact, more than ever, I argue um, that art is the most important thing in comics, but it's art that's telling stories, and the the artist who's really clicking is at least the co-writer of the story, if not really a little more than the co-writer. Uh, so then there was Falling in Love on the Path to Hell. My daughter actually thinks that's a great title. I don't know what I think, but I do think that this is kind of a meh story. The art was fun. So I read 2 issues of it in a row. Art and color, very, very cool. Um, Generally kind of a fun concept, I guess, of this island that's kind of like purgatory on the road to hell. Um, but some of the people, everyone on the island, I guess, has died and then washed up on the island, but some of the people are on the island dead and some on the island are alive, and it's the dead versus the living. There's a lot of, what do you call it, a lot of things where it just happens because it happens. There doesn't feel like any real rhyme or reason. There probably is in the writer's head, but it doesn't come across. So I think I must have put this on my pull list sight unseen just because I thought it would be cool to see Jerry Duggan do a indie comic because I liked his Savage Avengers so much. And I feel like I've read some. Oh, he did a great job when he did Marvel's version of color version of Savage Sword of Conan. He did the first arc on that, and that was one of my favorite Conans at in the last Marvel incarnation. But whatever magic he brought to those comics, for me, he's not bringing it here. It's not connecting at all. It just feels random. It's mildly enjoyable. Um, Precious Metal. This is one I want to put at number one, at the number one spot, but I'm not. Yeah, I guess it's number four, or whatever, number four from the bottom. The art and color's still great. Um, I was really noticing while reading it how effectively Bertram Ian Bertram uses these wide panels, varying their width to sort of give storytelling pacing and emotion to things. He doesn't always use this kind of grid. He breaks it up here and there, but it's his most common thing, and he's kind of a master at it. Like something like this, where you do this intense close up. He uses it really effectively. But could I follow what was going on in this story? No. And so I was feeling a bit frustrated. I think that in some of these characters would be ones that if I had just read Little Bird, maybe I would see, oh, here's a younger version of it, and that might add to my understanding of what's going on. But there's just a lot. I think we were jumping around in time a bit. You have to infer a lot, like such and such a person is his wife or significant other, and that's his daughter. And then who is this other person, and at what time did he meet him? And then we have the magical boy, but where is the magical boy? Who is that person? Um, it's There's just so much that confused me. So I sat back and enjoyed the art in the end. This is a double-sized issue, 44 pages of art for $6. I don't know why they didn't break them up into single issues for $4. They could have made more money, but I mean, I'm glad on that level that they're not trying to make more money. But it's kind of ironic that, sort of the state of the art in indie comics right now is one of the better bargains. Because this is art that we know it took Ian Bertram several years to draw all this. Um, and that several years between Pretty Bird and this, I guess, is part of my problem. My memory's just not good enough. So ironically, I enjoyed Space Ghost more. This is just light fun. It's kind of taking the very light fun of the original Space Ghost and amping it up a bit more to maybe a good solid DC Comics kind of standard. Um, the, the more of the cheesiness showed through in this third issue. Not that I'm complaining or anything, um, but it was definitely a fun romp. One thing that I did sort of notice is for an out of space character, it feels like we're in close quarters in almost all of this story, indoors, so to speak, inside spaceships, I guess. I mean, there's one spaceship picture, but the rest feels like we're in smallish rooms having fights with aliens. So I thought that was interesting because I think the most memorable thing visually about Space Ghost, the cartoon, is the outer space scenes. And Space Ghost flying through the air, through the darkness of space, making some Space Ghost noise. I forget what. Maybe just out Space Ghost. I can't remember for sure. Profane number two. I enjoyed Profane number one, but I think I enjoyed Profane number two better because I had my expectations now in line with what's going on in this book, which is this very uh, sort of uh, light-ish metafiction about a detective, and it's just fun, all the twists and turns. Yeah, I don't think in the end it's going to add up to a whole lot, but I think it's enjoyable journey. And the art's not flashy or anything, but it's got good storytelling and all of that I care about. It's interesting to see. I don't know how much artists think about this. The gutters between the panels are very small. What were the gutters like between? So the gutters are actually a little odd looking too in Space Ghost. And then let's see, in Precious Metal, I actually really like the way the panel edges seem to be drawn without rulers, or maybe he drew it in with a ruler in pencil, and then when he inked, he allowed a little wiggliness to the line. It actually gives it more flavor, more character, at least for a comic book like this. And he left more room than the others in the gutter. I wish I had an old school Marvel comic to compare for the gutters, but I don't. I'm out in the backyard. I've got what I got. Well, let's see. I enjoyed Grendel Devil's Crucible Defiance. That's a long title. Grendel Devil's Crucible Defiance. Number 1 of 4. I wish this was more than 4 issues, actually. I enjoyed this quite a bit. Uh, do I understand who and what Grendel is? No, but I understand that we're because I read the previous thing where the Grendel Empire on Earth wanted to spread out, and it knew it was dying on Earth and it needed a new planet to go to, and sent out this Grendel, this particular Grendel. I guess he's like a knight or something. Sent him a cyborg knight, maybe. Sent him out on a mission across the stars to look for another planet to plant the seeds of a new Grendel civilization. But that didn't work out. I can't remember exactly why not, but anyway, he didn't find the right place. And he's come back to Earth, but because of time dilation, 800 years has passed, and the whole Grendel Empire is gone. I'm a bit surprised he was surprised by that. But anyway, it allows, so he's just wandering about trying to figure out what's up. And it allows Matt Wagner to do some fun visuals, kind of a little bit of a Mad Max world at first, anyway. But there's more than that going on. Of some outrageous stuff there, um, just sort of going on in the background. So yeah, I thought it was pretty cool. Who colored this? I think the coloring was good. Oh, his son Brennan, Wagner's son Brennan, colored it. Bit leaning on the orangey side, which seems to be a common thing in modern comics. I'm not sure why, but I thought it was good coloring. And eh, we got some ultra violence. We got some intriguing characters that we're going to probably learn more about in the next issue. And I'm intrigued about what is the current sort of regime on Earth. Apparently, it's anti-Grendel, so the Grendel thing is remembered. So that was all very good. Um, but then I liked even more William of Newberry. I loved the first William of Newberry issue. This issue maybe isn't quite as strong, but it continues the story and the flavor. So it already had a very positive spin in my mind. Love the color choices in here, and I think it's colored by the artist writer Michael Avon Oming. He's doing everything here except for editing himself. So great feat, because even I like the lettering. I like the for this particular story, the choice of the way the word balloons are done is cool. And definitely, yeah, I love the coloring. And the general pacing and storytelling is almost up to a Usagi Yojimbo quality, a little more so in issue 1 than this issue, and that was perhaps a bit of the difference, but not a big difference. So still a really good thing. I'm really looking forward to it. It doesn't say 2 of 4. It's from Dark Horse. A lot of Dark Horse series just go for 4 issues. I'm hoping this is just an ongoing. That would be killer. But it must be a lot of work for Michael Avon Oming. I don't know how well it pays. Um, but so I can't imagine he can put out an issue every month forever. So he'd probably at least have to take breaks. But I hope this is successful and that we have a lot more William of Newberry to come. And then capping off this little sprint of reading were 2 Conan comics. Uh, the this current Conan the Barbarian arc ended with a sort of big fight, which is appropriate, and it was a lot of fun. Still great art, great coloring. The dream team on Conan in terms of the art and coloring. Um, I would say as an issue by itself, it was, if I had just picked up this issue, it would have been just a big fight and it wouldn't have meant that much to me. But read in context of the whole arc, it's a very, very good finale. Uh, there's a lot of unanswered questions, like why did Conan go back in the past? And how come he's not dead? Because he killed himself. And what are, there's just a lot of questions in my mind hovering around that, and I don't know if any of that will get answered in the future. Um, I am a little bummed because this was more like, I don't know if this is going on for more and more battle of. It seems like we resolved the Black Battle of the Blackstone in this issue, but it's going to come back. So, eh, maybe Jim Zub and Titan Comics come up with a new storyline soon. I think, well, they want it to be a big event, and they're going to tie it in. Next issue in Savage Sword of Conan #4, I believe, is going to have a tie-in story to this event, Battle of the Blackstone, which will be fun because they've already hinted in the new comic book day or free comic book day comic that a whole bunch of Robert E. Howard characters from different time periods are going to be sucked into this battle for the Blackstone. But meanwhile, we have Savage Sword of Conan #3 with I just Alex Horley, you rock. This Alex Horley cover is fantastic. I love the colors. Um, I love the way he draws that werewolf, the way he draws Conan too. Um, at first, I assumed it was by one of those classic Conan cover artists from the original Savage Sword of Conan days, but it would be one of the best of those artists. And then we get another pinup by Alex Horley of Cull, and that is fantastic too. I wonder if that is like a black and white version of a painting that's coming later. I don't know, but that is really good. I mean, it's sort of a cross between Frank Frazetta and Bernie Wrightson, I suppose. So the main story in um in this issue is Wolves of the Tundra. I don't know that we're on the tundra in as far as it's drawn. It looks like a wooded area. Isn't the tundra like a cold desert? Um, However, the art by Carrie Nord is really fun. It is a bit like the art of someone who's used to having a colorist fill in some of the gaps, but his art is beautiful. The story by what's his name, Frank Thierry, the writer, is a fun but very one-dimensional, one-level story. I think in the old school comics, they would never do a story this long without other layers of things going on. I enjoyed reading it a lot, but it in some ways it was kind of a story that could have been done in 10 pages or something, or part of a larger story. Conan has no companions. There's no real sort of culture that he's against, and weirdly, the architecture looks strangely modern. At its oldest, maybe a few hundred years old. Not at all what I would think of. Let me see if I can find it. I enjoyed it, but I guess I kept thinking of ways it could be even better. It does. I kind of would like to see a color version of this. Let's see. Where's the inn he goes to? Yeah, like look at that. Isn't that like maybe 1700s or something? So, and at one point he lights a match. So, I enjoyed this, but to me it was more minor Conan than the big story in issue 2, for instance. But Carrie Nord is beautiful, beautiful art, especially in terms of like the human figure or animal figures. Um, Really, really, really cool art. And then the other main story was the conclusion to Patrick Zurcher's. Uh, Come on, Damian. Patrick Zurcher's. What is the name of this character? I'm having the brain fart on camera. Character I know so well. Solomon Kane. Solomon Kane. Uh, and Patrick Zurcher. I mean, he shows you how to do a sword and sorcery art, and he wrote it too, and it's very good. Um, but you really create the world with your art, and Patrick Zurcher is really putting the work in there. He's not he's a very good artist, but he's maybe his figures don't have that intense beauty that Carrie Nord does. But I don't know. I think overall this was my favorite piece, both for the art and the story. I got to go back and read all three parts together. It's a bit tragic. You feel kind of sad for the monster at the end, um, but that was very good, and it really captured that sense of myth and sort of the layers of the magical world beneath the world that we know. And finally was another interesting piece, a silent one. This one probably was about 6 pages, and it probably had as much plot in it as the werewolf one. And it was silent. It was done by Alan Qua. So I'll have to apologize to Alan Qua because I think he was the one who did a cover of the regular Conan issue that I thought was terrible. But he does a really good job here in this black and white story, which he wrote and drew himself. And it's kind of a typical Conan story where, it is kind of odd that he and his horse just fall into this trap, I guess. And then he survives this long fall. His horse does not. And he eventually meets a beautiful woman who, of course, he chases. It's sort of shades of the Frost Giant's daughter. But anyway, done very well and very true to the whole kind of Conan style storytelling. So overall, really cool issue. Savage Sword of Conan remains one of my favorite things on the stands. Although issue 2 is still the peak. Let's hope they need to bring back Jim Zub, I think, for the writing, because he's more committed to it than some of these other writers. Although Patrick Zurcher, I hope we see a lot more Patrick Zurcher, especially in the black and white format. He is awesome at that. Okay, I'm happy this winter solstice beer is good. It's made the heat of the day kind of move away from me. I got a little cool glow around me, except under my hat. Um, but I'll talk to you all about comic books very soon. Bye bye.